Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden.
Where we continue to follow the capture and killing of Osama bin Laden now.
Those are just some of the scenes overnight as thousands of Americans gathered in celebration of Osama bin Laden's death.
Former Navy SEAL Rob O'Neill says he has thought about the mission every day since that May Day in 2011.
For multiple conversations you had with Rob O'Neill over the past year and a half, how'd you get
access? And you described that his head kind of exploded when you hit him.
I actually hit him 3 times because I shot him twice when he was standing and once on the ground.
That is the fucking American badass right there.
Go, go, go. We are not going for fame and we are not going for bravado. We are going for the single mom who dropped her kids off at elementary school on a Tuesday morning, and then 45 minutes later she jumped to her death out of a skyscraper.
If you need help, hang up and then dial your operator.
I'm Rob O'Neill, and this is the Operator Podcast. Hey. Welcome to the Operator Podcast. I'm Robert J. O'Neill, your host, and I'm not even sure where to start. Got a lot going on, a lot of stuff going on, craziness going on. We got spacemen coming back, a spaceman and a spacewoman from space. Actually, they're from the Earth. They went up to space for an 8-day trip, and it turned into Gilligan's Island. They were at the International Space Station, and they actually released some pretty cool pictures that showed the curvature of the Earth. I'm really curious what the flat earthers think about some of those photos, and what do they think about those people being gone for, out of gravity for, I don't know how many months. Supposed to be 8 days, number of months. It was a long time. They went up this summer. How does not being in gravity affect you if it's real? Because, were they at the bottom of that pool that the flat earthers say is there? Were they trained for zero gravity, or were they actually up there and they're dealing with some medical concerns that hopefully can be reversed? And then, obviously they came down, they parachuted yesterday, got into the water, pulled out. They're still very politically correct, which is smart, especially when you're trapped at the space station. You got to be smart. They didn't badmouth the administration for screwing them. They even got astronauts. Mark Kelly and his brother, who were both astronauts, were saying that there's always been a spaceship up there. They could have left at any time. Like there's an Uber up there, but that someone needs to man the space station. I'm not sure that's the case. I don't know. I wasn't there. However, these 2 astronauts, they're going to get a shiny book deal. They're going to get some interviews. They're going to get some. I wouldn't be surprised to see them get some pretty. I don't know if they're going to stick with the space thing. They're very experienced. Got a lot of time up there, but they could get some contributorship at certain places. They're definitely writing books. I want to hear their story. I want to hear what they actually think and what actually happened, because I'm very curious. Not to get political with it, but they didn't badmouth anybody. They did thank President Trump and Elon Musk for going to get him. So that's cool. That went down. The JFK files. Man, where do we start with those? I don't have time to read 80,000 pages. All I've taken out of that so far is that Lee Harvey Oswald definitely met with Russia. Lee Harvey Oswald allegedly was the only shooter. That's the bullshit we've been told for a long, long time. Took a shot, one bullet went through like 12 different body parts of 3 different people, and they pulled out a perfect bullet. JFK's brain was missing, but Lee Harvey Oswald did it all. Have you seen that? You know that there was 3 layers of seats, 3 rows of seats in that limo, not just 2. People don't realize that. There's 3 rows of seats, and I saw one set. You got to keep in mind with artificial intelligence right now, you don't really know what a deep fake is, but there's footage of this dude was saying it took him like 16 years. I don't know why the number 16 came up, because it's been a long time. But he claims you can see the driver of the vehicle after Kennedy was hit from behind in the spine. He turned around and shot him with an electric gun, and that's why his head blew back. There's a video; it's out there. Wasn't there. Don't know that. I've never believed it was a single shooter. I'm not going to read all 80,000 pages. I'm going to leave that up to some interns. Maybe read their cliff notes and whatnot. Should be good though. Interesting. Maybe I will. I don't know. It's a lot of reading. I'm still working on the Bible, cover to cover. It's a big book. The Bible is a lot. I'll tell you what, man. If you haven't read Genesis, it tells you how old people were. We're talking 850 years old. That's legit. They were all getting Social Security from this country. No big deal. Don't take their Social Security away, racist. Moses paid into it. Yeah. But the spaceship coming down, the spacemen coming out, all kinds of weirdness happening. I'm trying to think of where to start. I have a bunch of notes. I'm not even looking at them. I'm looking right at you in particular, to figure out what we're going to talk about. Obviously, we will get in preparation, over planning, stuff like that too. I always love to talk about preparation. I think that's really, really important, as opposed to trying to overplan something, because you know the old story. You plan for an 8-day trip to space, and then you're up there for 9 months or whatever they're up there. So be prepared. Hopefully, what do they do up there too? Like, do they recycle their urine and whatnot? Because I mean, it's probably got to be tough to get a lot of water up there. I'm sure they do something like that. Yeah. Do you remember? I'm older than you. I don't know if I am, but back in the day when we did take a trip down to Cape Canaveral when I was a kid, and the big deal was, this is before Amazon. You could just order stuff with a click of a button and have it there that day, which is badass, by the way. Going down to Florida, you could grab the astronaut food that was just dehydrated, like the ice cream. I thought was dope. I wonder if they lived on ice cream and pee for a long time. It'd be interesting to see. But being prepared for life, for whatever's going to happen. Madness could happen. Look at Iran. Look what's going on there with the Houthis in Yemen. Houthis, I love that Houthis, and the Houthis are claiming that they're working separate from Iran, Iraq. I suck. But Iran is saying that the Houthis are on their own. The Houthis are saying they're on their own. Not the case. Obviously, Iran's pulling the ticket. But Trump said any attack from the Houthis will be considered an attack from Iran, and who knows what's going to happen there. Because Iran's in a place where, like the Democrats are now, they fear they're going to lose power, so God knows what they're going to do, which even going into more chaos with the negotiation between Russia and, well, Ukraine, but the United States. The United States is negotiating on behalf of Ukraine because Zelensky's not serious. I mean, look at that dude, the Green Goblin. But they are negotiating that. I'm not defending Putin. Putin's a psychopath. I think Putin might. Two theories I have. I think he's lost some of his. I think he's a little crazy. I think he's a psychopath. I remember the story of. I read that book. His book's about 80,000 pages long. He didn't write it, but I read it. Growing up in Russia, and that didn't sound like fun either. Some of those places, Siberia, or wherever, it's cold. And they were poor. They were communists. They're poor. Tell that to people going to Colombia. Communism is poor. Socialism, you're poor. But he said one of his games growing up was chasing rats. And that's when he learned that chasing a rat is when you corner a rat, that's when it sucks. And a lot of that's happening now with a lot of politicians. These are cornered rats, and Lord knows what's going to happen. JFK files, we'll see. Epstein files, we'll see. Vladimir Putin, too, my other theory about him is I don't think Elon Musk is the richest man in the world. I think Vladimir Putin is. Interesting. We'll get into that if you want. Hit me up at the Operator Podcast on Insta. I haven't been I've been on Instagram a little bit. We've been going around for the cannabis stuff, Operator Canna. That's been fun. I've been posting a couple things like that because that's a new industry too. Trying to deal with PTSD, TBI, stuff like that, anxiety. I think cannabis is a good way to go. I'm not sure if I'll get shadow banned for saying that. I'm not. By the way, I don't know if you noticed, I'm not a guy that's. If something is edited when I say something, like they blurt fuck, or whatever. I didn't do that. Someone else edited it. I think. Look, if you want to edit me, edit me. If you want to cancel me, cancel me. I'm not going to put F*CK. Fuck that. All right. Where the hell was I going with this? Whatever, doesn't matter. But we have stuff to talk about. It'll be fun today. But with the preparation, I do need to talk about the sponsor of the show, My Patriot Supply, because you need to listen to me. You need to listen up and listen good, because you've seen it before when disaster strikes. Grocery store shelves go empty overnight. The worst time to prepare is during the aftermath. By then, it's already too late. We've seen it. Look at the toilet paper. Not even a survival mechanism. Toilet paper is just nice to have. Smart Americans, though, trust My Patriot Supply to help them prepare before the crisis comes. And right now, they're making it easier than ever. So order their 4-week emergency food supply today and get 4 72-hour food kits completely free. That's almost 2 weeks of bonus meals at no cost, and these things are delicious. Each of these kits offers over 2,000 calories per day of, as I said, delicious, easy-to-prepare meals that last up to 25 years. Put this in a corner, in your garage, in your attic, in storage, 25 years, and that is real peace of mind. Pay attention to this. There's no last-minute panic. Panic is contagious. You don't want to be a part of it. There's no empty shelves. You're just knowing you're covered. That is peace of mind for you and most importantly for your family. Stock up today before this deal disappears, because when an emergency hits, food will be the first thing to go. So go to my favorite website, preparewithrob.com. Go to preparewithrob.com to claim your kit, plus an extra 12 days of free food. Go get this. You will have peace of mind. That's one less loose end that you have tied up. You don't need to worry about that. You're there. You can eat. You can survive. Go to preparewithrob.com. So right now is a proper time to talk about the sponsor of the show, Ridge Wallet. I talked about them last week. You're going to hear me talk about them again. When I got out of the Navy and was not making Navy pay, and I realized what your fair share in taxes was, but making a little more, I used to buy designer wallets. Like they were very expensive. They were thick like a brick. But I didn't hold my cards. I couldn't pull them out, but there was a snake on it, so I thought it was fancy. People could tell I was fancy for my wallet, but not the case anymore. I got tired of it. I'm obsessed with Ridge Wallet now. These Ridge Wallets are unique. They're slim. They hold 12 cards plus cash. They're made with premium materials like aluminum, titanium, carbon fiber, over 50 colors to choose from. They all have a lifetime warranty. This is literally the last wallet you'll ever need to buy. It'll give you peace of mind. Ridge Wallet has RFID blocking technology, which keeps you safe from digital pickpocketers, which is a real thing too. They can get you from across the room. They have over 100,000 5-star reviews. Losing your wallet's the worst, but Ridge Wallet has AirTag attachment. You'll always know exactly where it is before panic mode kicks in. And Ridge isn't about wallets. They create premium everyday carry essentials, key cases, suitcases, rings, all built in with the same. This is a really sleek and durable design. No matter what you pick, Ridge has free shipping, a 99-day risk-free trial, and a lifetime warranty on all of their products. You got to go check them out. These things are so cool. They're so sleek. And right now, Ridge is having their once-a-year anniversary sale. Get up to 40% off at ridge.com/theoperator. Ridge.com/theoperator. Just head to ridge.com/theoperator. See their biggest sale of the year. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Tell them the operator sent you there. Because I did. But go check out Ridge Wallet. I'm serious. They are so cool. Ridge.com/theoperator. Check these out. Get one. Carry your cards. Carry your cash. And don't get digitally pickpocketed. Ridge.com/theoperator. So I sent out a post on X, the artist formerly known as a tweet, and I'm going to read it verbatim so that we can discuss. I said, the Democrats are in serious need of real leadership. A one-party system is bad for everyone. Any thoughts? And I meant exactly what I said by that, because a one-party system is bad. Not that we haven't had, I think we basically had a uniparty before Donald Trump showed up because everyone was just waiting on their turn. Remember that? President Obama screwed it up for everyone too because it was Hillary's turn in 2008. Do you remember? Geez, I'm going way back in time. 2020 when George W. Bush beat Al Gore and they came down to Florida where Jeb was, the governor, and there was that's when they would vote where you punch the thing through the little hole, and they would have had what's called the hanging chads. That's when the word Chad came out, because a Chad is the little hole you punch, and we couldn't decide. They were fighting over Bush and Gore, and there was the big, the Michael Moore movie and Fahrenheit 9/11, all that shit and whatnot. But it was either Bush or Gore, and then Bush ran against John Kerry, both Freemasons or whatever, secret clubs, and then it was supposed to be Hillary because the Clintons in the 80s. And it's weird if you look back at that too, because George H.W. Bush, sorry about that, vice president, then president, he was supposed to win a second term, but H. Ross Perot came in, the wild card, man. He's the guy that when you're in the murder van, he cuts the brakes and tells you he's the wild card and jumps out the back. Woo! But H. Ross Perot came in with some really good ideas as an oil billionaire, how to run it like a country like a business. And then he bailed and he got back in, which really hurt, but it took away a lot of the votes from the right. So H.W. Bush lost to a guy by the name of Bill Clinton. So the Perot's brought the Clintons to us, even though Hillary Clinton was around too. I think she was some sort of a, I don't know what she was, one of her first involvements I want to say was in Watergate. So she's been around. And obviously when hell was created, she was there for that too. But the Clintons came in because of that, and then Al Gore was going to win, but Bush won. He beat Gore. Then Kerry was there, the Freemasons, but then it was Hillary Clinton's time. But then Barack Obama came in out of nowhere, possibly Nigeria. Who knows what they're going to uncover? I'm not getting into that. Don't get mad at me for conspiracies. We're here to have fun at the Operator Podcast. By all means, tell me what you think of my thoughts at the Operator Podcast. Or go to @Makuya too, even though I'm not there very much. Anyway, so we got Barack Obama for 8 years. And then it was Hillary's turn, and then we got Donald Trump. But it was going to be Hillary Clinton versus Jeb Bush, which was what I was getting at too, and that's how it was supposed to go. It's either her turn or his turn, and then it'll be the other person's turn next. We did have a uniparty, and a uniparty. I'll dumb it down for myself because I'm not a very smart person, I guess. I'm smart enough. Why do I say I was smart enough to carry a sledgehammer and a gun? Let the smart people point me in the right direction. Basically, I'm as dumb as my dad. That's why I kept going in the rooms where the guns were firing. But there was a uniparty, and everyone was shifting money in Ukraine and whatnot too. That's what we all love. But then, Trump comes in, and then COVID hits, and it's just chaos. The point I was getting at is a uniparty is bad. One party's bad. Donald Trump really shook up the Republicans. Came in like a goddamn freight train and crushed people, and it was awesome to watch. And he changed it. He changed the Republican Party basically forever, which is good. We did get COVID, and we got the most popular president in the history of the galaxy again when Joe Biden got 620 billion votes, all from dead people. But then Trump got 4 years to watch, and he came back now too. But it really ignited the base. It ignited the country. Really pissed off the left to the point where now. They need leadership. They're out of leadership. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm a registered independent. But we need checks and balances. Now, it could be the Green Party. I'd be fine with that too. Right now, the Democrat Party sucks. No leadership whatsoever. What I meant by my tweet was, because I was an optimist at first with combat veterans, because there are veterans who are Democrats. And if we can get them in the room with other veterans, both sides of the aisle or independents, we might be able to get something done. Even to the point where I would imagine you could get some veterans who are members, ideally, and walk them down the halls of Congress. Imagine if you had Democrats and Republicans, combat vets going door to door, and you can lobby, you can whip up votes, you can do stuff like that. But we're losing it. The Republicans are strong, and they've got great leadership now. Democrats are weak. Their leadership was good. Pelosi and Schumer were good, meaning they could keep their party in line. But the problem is they start thinking the party is more important than anything else, because with their party comes their power. With their power comes their money. And narcissists and sociopaths are drawn to Washington, D.C., and that's what you have. But Pelosi and Schumer were really good because basically if you go against them and you're not lockstep, they're going to primary you. And that kept people in line too, because they want to keep their jobs. I mean, when it's all said and done, you want to keep you want to maintain what keeps the lights on. But now they hate Donald Trump so much. I mean, here's how much they hate Donald Trump too. And again, the offer's out there. If you're one of my dear leftist or liberal listeners, just tell me why you hate him without calling him a name. Without saying he's a racist or a misogynist or a homophobe or Islamophobe or whatever phobe, a deplorable, whatever. What don't you like about him? Just tell me that too. But they're so blind with it. Like, here's how ridiculous it is. You remember global warming, you remember climate change. You remember man-made climate change, that fucking hoax. Electric vehicles were the way to go, and they're going to force you $8 billion to build 8 charging stations. That's government efficiency. And now the left is burning them and buying gas guzzlers because they hate Donald Trump so much. It makes no sense whatsoever. I love when you remember when Grandpa stood up there with shit in his pants screaming with the red Return of the Jedi backdrop, and those two poor Marines that had to stand behind him, and he's up there, and the ultra MAGA, the MAGAs, and the ultra MAGA. Like, MAGA has become a word they use to try to describe bad people, dumb people. MAGA simply stands for Make America Great Again. And people are against that. Against making, why, if you live in this country, would you not want America to be great? I don't understand that. It doesn't make sense to me. Why wouldn't you want safe borders? Why wouldn't you want wars to end? Why wouldn't you want to keep more of your money? Why wouldn't you want a smaller government? Why are some people insistent on boys beating up girls in sports? Why are they insistent on boys stealing scholarships from girls? Even with that, I've got 4 daughters, right? I've got a very young daughter. I can imagine, just watching them work for what they're doing. Can you imagine? And the accomplishments, from graduations to dances to getting a job to cars, to all that stuff. Could you imagine starting some, like a high-end athlete, a Riley Gaines, starts work at 3 years old, probably. Pro golfers start at 3 years old, and their parents bust their ass to get them to practice. Figure skaters, volleyball players, swimmers, runners, track and field basketball. These girls bust their asses. A lot of these young girls realize they're at a point in their, even at a young age, they really want to do something with this. They want that sense of winning, man, winning. They want the scholarship, but now we're at a point too where they'll just take them away and give them to boys that say they're girls. You ever notice that trans men never dominate men's sports? Weird. Trans women dominate the shit out of them. But these are some of the weird. And then they try to, anyway, they hate Donald Trump so much that they don't want anything to succeed. They don't want America to succeed. They don't want you to keep more. They're defending the IRS. Did you see that? How can you handle that? You work, right? Do you go through and look at all the crap they're taking out? When you're at a restaurant, especially in a blue state, go down the itemized list of what you paid for. Gas is expensive because of all the taxes. Where's that money going? Why are you pro taxes? Why are you pro gang members and terrorists? Why are you pro open borders and war? I don't understand it. But now that's what the Democrats are, simply because they hate Donald Trump so much. We were right up next to a government shutdown, which I think I would love it if the government shut down. I'm serious. And they always say, well, the military won't get paid. Well, here's the thing. Keep paying the military. Stop paying the DMV. Stop paying the politicians. Stop paying the staffers. I guarantee you, stop paying those fucking politicians and staffers. They'll come to a nice agreement real quick and line by line. But the government's going to shut down. Again, too, and Chuck Schumer, the leader of the Senate Democrats, he'll come out and he's just that bifocals around the nose, hands behind the back, complete, like you want to smack his jowls too. Actually, you want to smack his jowls so his head goes to the left or right and hits Mitch McConnell too. Get two jackasses with one stone. But he doesn't want the government shut down because Chuck Schumer loves government. The left loves government. Isn't that crazy? Rage Against the Machine. Man, they're all about the machine. All these punk bands are all about big government. What is that? Where did that happen, man? How are the Sex Pistols taking this? Are they on board with that? Who knows? But Chuck Schumer, who loves the government, didn't want the government to shut down. So a bill passed the House. And I don't know. They're always bragging about how good they are, too, at winning elections. They lost the House, the Senate, and the White House, if you didn't notice. So the House passed a bill to fund the government and went to the Senate, where they're going to need 60 votes to avoid a whatever. The Republicans don't have the votes. So if they don't, that means that they really played their hands well, the Republicans, because if the Democrats go against it, the government's going to shut down. It's on the Democrats. Chuck Schumer realized that. Don't care. You know what? I've never met Chuck Schumer. I know he's not, I can tell by pictures he's not good at barbecue. You ever see that picture? It's a raw hamburger with cheese on top. You have no idea what you're doing. That picture alone should tell you what these politicians think of you and how out of touch they are. They have no idea what you do. I bet most of these politicians couldn't drive a car. Wouldn't even know how. They don't know what stoplights are. I bet they can't cook. They can't barbecue. They don't need to. They're surrounded by yes men. People that carry their luggages. Someone probably carried a suitcase full of raw hamburgers and raw cheese in the other hand, doing shrugs the whole way. so he could do that shit too. But Chuck Schumer loved the government, and so he voted for the Republican budget to keep the government running, and did the God blessed fangs come out, man. They hate him, and like he's going on a book tour. He wrote a book. I don't know what it's called. Don't care. But someone wrote a book, put Chuck Schumer's name on it. And he's going around. He had to cancel his book signings now. You know why? Violence. You know who was going to commit the violence? It wasn't parents at a school board meeting. You know, the domestic terrorists. Wasn't them. It's not the ultra MAGA. No. It's the people burning the Teslas. It's the left. It's Antifa. It's George Soros. The people that he pays $50 a day to. Do you think those are real people showing up and screaming about the IRS and screaming in front of the Supreme Court? You think those are real people? Or are they getting paid to be there? I'll tell you, they're getting paid to be there, but they're coming after Chuck Schumer now. Man, they're coming after him. AOC, who is the face of the Democratic Party. She's the way forward. Oh my God. But yeah, she's coming after him. The Democrats are asking for them to primary Chuck Schumer. He's running for Senate again, which is good because, he's pushing 90. He should be in there for another 50 years because bang up job, $35 trillion in debt. It's almost $36 trillion in debt. But let's get bigger government because the children, or whatever you say, because of the kids in cages and we can't separate families, $35 trillion in debt. Bullshit. We can get rid of all that nonsense now, but the Democrats are coming after him. And then you got Tampon Tim Walz, who was, look at what they've done to each other. This summer, there's video of Barack Obama saying he would take a third term if he could stay in his sweats and stay in a basement, have some jackass in an earpiece. My words, not his. Well, guess what? They found the jackass. Because they had a dude they planted in there for decades. Not Sleepy Joe. What was he? Lunch Pail Joe or Blue Collar Joe? Because he rides the train every day. And man, he's a swamp rat too. I love how he's a public servant for 50 years. Yeah. Public service ripping you off, robbing you and making millions, enriching his entire family who all have drug problems. But yeah, they're going after Chuck now too, and Nancy Pelosi. But look what they did to Biden. He didn't. They placed him in there, and that election, as they say. Oh, I just had an aneurysm saying election. But then what did they do? Just think about this logically. I'm not making this up. Then they lied to you the entire time. I remember a pundit saying he's sharp as a knife. His cognitive skills, we have a tough time keeping up with him. He would do that stupid little jog. And then that 6'10" body double. Remember that tall dude that obviously wasn't Joe Biden? Ho, ho, ho. I look at the picture of the Bin Laden raid. That I can't get away from that. The picture of Joe Biden in that half situation room when the helicopter crashed. You can see Hillary Clinton with her hands over her fangs, and Joe Biden sitting there. Look at his nose. Look at his eyes. That's a different dude than was president. I'm telling you. Compare that to the dude that was shitting tapioca. Like two different dudes. But they placed him there just like they said they would, with an earpiece. We saw it. Oh, he's fine. He runs around, even though he falls upstairs and downstairs, and he's wearing those wooden shoes, and they have to put him in the cargo hold. The one like when you see there's like a hold where they put the luggage, and if you see a baggage handler come out, you think, oh, that's how pilots are born. That's pretty sweet. They had to lower it, bring him in a different one. He's shaking hands with invisible people. Oh, he's fine. Sharp as a knife. Is what they would say. Then he debates. He didn't do press conferences. How many times did you see the back of his head? I shouldn't even be making fun of him. That is complete elder abuse what they did to this guy, but they don't care. For power, baby. Put him in line. Auto pen. Who was writing the executive orders? Does he know what he did? If he doesn't know what he did, are those valid pardons? And I'm pretty sure, you can look this up, you can't get pardoned for stuff you haven't been convicted of yet. You can't get a blanket pardon on shit you might do or might have done. You can't. Unconstitutional. But they pulled it off. And they own the media who was in on it. But, it gets to a point with a debate where he's saying, yeah, we beat Medicare or Medicaid. Or remember that shit? And then you see, like even George Clooney, who was around him, realized how out of his mind he was. They all lied to you. The media lied to you. The social media lied to you. All those dudes that are jumping on board with Meta and all this stuff, and they're coming over and donating to Trump and paying for Melania to get filmed. Like, they're all coming over on board because everybody wants to play for the winner. But the fangs are coming out for the Democrats. Joe Biden didn't. They said he came out and signed it, saying he's leaving office for the good of the country. Do you think he left for the good of the country, or do you think there was a coup? There was a God blessed coup in this country. It happened real time. We all saw it. It was a coup. That is straight up communism shit. And it happened. They pushed him out. A president who was elected. I hate saying that. But a president, the most popular president in the history of the presidents, he was kicked out by his own party. And then they were dumb enough to put in Kamala Harris. And then she was dumb enough to pick Tim Walz. What? I mean, I even lost a bet. I said that she would pick Josh Shapiro, at least from Pennsylvania. Guess what, Democrats? Too Jewish. Can't be Jewish around Democrats. You know why? You know why. But, so now the fangs are out. Pelosi's not covering for Schumer. He's out there begging for his job. I'm the best one to be doing this. You should be good at it. Shit, if you were mopping floors and wiping asses for 50 years, you should be good at it. Stealing from people, you should not producing anything and making millions, you should be good after 50 years or however long you've been in there. But that's the swamp and you're watching it. The point I was making is they just need real leadership. The Democrats do. I want this country to succeed. But even all these politicians who were elected, they weren't like the little girl who was dreaming of being a world-class swimmer. I want to grow up to be a politician. No, they were the person in the classroom, the annoying girl in the front that always squawks at the professor about her ideas and blah, 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 and her name is AOC. Yeah, well, they see her. They see she can talk. They see she's loud. She's dumb enough to say the stuff they're going to plant, so they put her in office. You don't think they put plants in office? Have you seen some of these people don't even know what the laws are? IQ tests should be mandatory. Cognitive testing should be mandatory. And even for us, we the voters. And I'm saying that with a grain of salt because, damn it, maybe I can't vote anymore if we take an IQ test. What are we going to do? But they need leadership, man. And the leadership is it's not there. I mean, even Gavin Newsom's trying. Like you will not find a greater liar than Gavin Newsom. He will lie to your face. He will have his hand in the cookie jar and tell you that's not his hand. That's how he rolls. But even he's coming around. Give the dude credit. At least he's putting his opponents on his podcast with him. At least that's a start, right? I mean, he's going to lie right to your face, but at least it's a start. Democrats can't do it. Democrats, they can't talk to Republicans like that. They'll get primaried. That's what they do. They need leadership, though. They need high-end leadership, and the problem with the high-end leadership is this is the way we've always done it. It's just his turn. It's just that swamp rat's turn. It's that guy who was a congressman and then he was a governor and now he's a senator and then he was a congressman and then he's in the cabinet and now he's a congressman, now he's a senator. There's your senior guy. These are career politicians. Oh my God. It's like in their world, the Democrats' world right now, the Washington Generals would beat the fuck out of the Harlem Globetrotters. That's how upside down, down is up, up is down. You can't even tell the truth anymore. You know the people that got canceled told the truth because you offended retards. Can I say retard? I sure hope so. Well, the time for spring cleaning has come. And I love spring cleaning. And to be honest, I'm kind of excited this year because I get to go through my clothes, donate a bunch of stuff, and get rid of my old stuff, to include my old deodorant. And that's important because of my sponsor today. I've been talking about Mando for a while. I think you've heard of me. I've been using Mando, the whole body deodorant, and it's been an absolute game changer. This is from the founders of Lumi. Mando whole body deodorant is helping men conquer their odor in a new way. I like it because I can start the day cool and clean, and Jessica gets to wake up to the freshness. I love saying that too. Jessica gets to wake up to the freshness. I was down with Mando with the off the bat just because of the straight talk and the packaging. And it's great packaging. It's perfect for your package. Are you a gym rat, a surfer, or just a glutton for punishment? Mando takes the guesswork out of confidence. Here's a special offer. New customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code and link. Use code THEOPERATOR at shopmando.com. shopmando.com, code THEOPERATOR. This whole body deodorant, I'm telling you about, it's safe to use anywhere, and I mean anywhere. Pits, balls, thigh folds, belly buttons, butt cracks, feet. Did I mention pits and balls? That's created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. Clinically proven to block odor all day and control odor for, get a load of this, up to 72 hours. Mando deodorant product options. Solid stick, formulated and powered by mandelic acid to stop odor before it starts. That's preparation. It stops it before it starts. Spray deodorant, aluminum-free, ideal for hard-to-reach places. They're baking soda-free. These are gluten-free, not tested on animals. You got the bourbon leather, Clover Woods, Mount Fuji's awesome, the Pro Sports, clinically proven to control odor better than a shower with soap alone. You're getting a 10 out of 10 with it, I'm telling you. You want to try America's #1 whole body deodorant right now. You can find them at Walmart and Target, other retailers across the country. For the best results, though, go to shopmando.com. Mando Starter Pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice. I always let you know that I go with the mini body wash and the deodorant wipes, perfect for the Ranger shower. Listen to the bell ding, and it's free shipping. As a special offer for listeners, too, new customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code, which equates to over 40% off your starter pack. Use code THEOPERATOR at shopmando.com. shopmando.com. Use code THEOPERATOR. Be fresher, be drier. Boost your confidence head to toe with Mando. And mention you were sent there by the operator, and they will love you. You will smell great. Everyone will love you and your pits and balls. So right now, I would like to tell you about American financing because they fit really well with the preparation theme of the show. That you got to be prepared for what could happen, and it's a very volatile market right now. Look, I don't understand your exact situation, but if you're like the thousands of homeowners American financing talks to every month, you're struggling to keep up, barely making ends meet, drowning in high interest debt. And it's not your fault. Life got expensive. Inflation, saw that happen. It hit hard, and you're still carrying credit card balances with like 20%, 20+% interest rates while your mortgage sits untouched. You're ignoring the one thing that could turn it all around, your home. And this is where American financing can help. Would you trade 10 minutes for a shot at saving an average of $800 every month? Yeah, I think you should. $800 a month. Because that's exactly what homeowners are doing when they call American Financing. A simple, no-obligation call could change everything. They have a team of salary-based mortgage consultants, and that's very important. So, because there's no incentive to put you into a loan that doesn't make sense for you. And there are no upfront fees to find out how much you can save. There's no fees. They're just going to tell you. So don't wait. Call American Financing today. Find out what you can do about that. Start feeling that relief. The number to call is 866-889-5154. That's 866-889-5154 to call American Financing, or go to americanfinancing.net/operator. americanfinancing.net/operator. And, find out how much money you can save per month. The number again is 866-889-5154. americanfinancing.net/operator. What else are they pissed about? They're really mad again with the negotiations, Putin and Trump, with Ukraine involved. Isn't it crazy too? Like, I'm bringing this up because I would like to make the country work. Why are Democrats so pro-war? They don't want that war to end in Ukraine. I mean, if you think about it hard enough, you can figure out why. Everyone's on the take, but they don't like it. And then they hate Trump so much. They're still pulling that crap with Putin, that he's a Putin puppet and a Russian asset. Because if you're saying that too, and please bear with me, I'm not trying to be rude to you. There was a time when Nancy Pelosi, and you see it all the time, where she explained that if you say the same thing over and over again, even if it's not true, the dumb public will believe it. And that's the Russian asset. That's the Steele dossier. That's the bought and paid for with the Clinton campaign, how they tried to say he's a Russian asset. Remember he had Russian hookers pee on him, which, I haven't seen that since Bahrain. Allah's eyes do not look on Bahrain. But all that crap too. And then they're saying now that he's a stooge for Putin because he's negotiating. He's a negotiator. And he's not going to go in there and name call and throw a hissy fit like a lot of politicians do. He might butter him up a little bit too. He might do that too. But you know what they've agreed upon? They've agreed that Iran does not need nuclear weapons. And that's big. I mean, look, Russia and the United States agree on that. And the left probably doesn't. Does the left want nuclear war? It seems like it. Every time the left's in charge, they want to bring cash to Iran and then tell them it's all for peace. And we got to work on the peaceful nuclear deal. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Iran doesn't want peaceful nuclear energy. They want to destroy Israel with nuclear weapons. Have you heard them talk about how we love death the way they love life? They're not bullshitting. You know when you sit at like Thanksgiving and you have your crazy aunt who's religious as hell and she knows she's right? These fuckers are crazier, and they know they're right. They know that they're dying to die. And you give them nuclear weapons, that's what they want, man. They're going to get the Caliphate. It's in their book. It was told to them. But we're realizing that Iran does not need a nuclear weapon. But I mean, again, too, you got to tread lightly with that because of the open borders. If you don't think Iran has sleeper cells here in this country, you're lying to yourself. And that's going to be part of the problem if there's a war with them, too, is they're going to ignite, man. They're waiting to clack off, literally. Like, clack off. And they got some serious dudes, too. I don't want that, but they got their believers, and they're in this country. Open borders, man. Who do you think we don't have here? We got a lot of them here. ISIS is here. Al-Qaeda's here. Islamic Jihad's here. Hamas is here. Hezbollah's here. A lot of people here. Al-Shabaab's probably here, along with, peppered with Boko Haram. Boko Haram, isn't that Boko Haram? That's a city in Florida. Nah, Boca Raton. Okay. I stole that. Sorry, that was from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Sorry, guys. Can't take credit for that. Great joke, though. Great episode. But they agree they don't want Iran to have nuclear weapons, and that's also part of the negotiations going with... Because you got to figure in Ukraine, too. You got, Eastern Ukraine, you've got ethnic Russians, too. So, and then in Ukraine, you've got dudes rolling up in murder vans, kind of like it's getting ready for the hazing party in fucking old school. Grabbing dudes off the street and putting them in the trench warfare. You imagine that's, I've never been in trench warfare. I've been in a lot of combat, never trench warfare. I'm assuming it's bad. I'm assuming it's really bad. Then you can throw in the drones, the suicide drones. That's got to suck. But just grabbing their people off talk about separating people from your families. You're going to die to fight the Russians. That's a losing fight. Sorry. You're not going to beat the Russians. You got to negotiate your way out of this. And unlike the whiny ass left, when you lose and you negotiate, you're not going to get every little thing you want, even though you deserve everything you want. Immediate gratification, you cute little guy. But there's going to have to be a negotiation. And then the shitty thing is, at some point, Trump will have to stand up to Vladimir Putin. It's coming. He's buttering him up now. It's coming. He's not an asset, and I'll say this slowly. Donald Trump is trying to make this country better for you. It takes time. It takes a little time, man. The tariffs. He wants you to not pay tax. He wants everyone under $150,000 to not pay any income tax, not tax tips, not tax overtime. These are good. Not if you're a liberal. And I don't even like saying liberal. Not if you're a left. Liberals even realize how ridiculous this is. But the leftists, they want you to tax your tips, tax your gas, tax your overtime. They love taxes, love war. They love old fuckers going into trenches to fight the young fuckers. North Korean troops coming out of nowhere. They don't even know they thought they were in Michigan or wherever. That's the negotiation. And then with Iran too. I mean, I don't like the sleeper cells here, but they're backpedaling now, dude, because with the Houthis and all that stuff, because Iran's supporting everybody. Everyone knows that they're that bad. I mean, and they own Iraq now too. Good job, by the way, with the invasion in 2003, President Bush. Anyway, tangent. And there's that rumor that we sunk their intel ship. They have this kick-ass, their high-speed signal intelligence ship. Yeah, allegedly we sunk it, I think. I'd called all over the past few days. I have got contacts in different places, and no one really knows for sure. And you got to be careful with deepfakes, man. You can get suckered into anything. They can make polls. They can doctor polls to make it lean a certain way. Like 75% of all people know that. But if they sunk that, because they launched this Iranian ship in January of this year, 2025, year of our Lord 2025, and allegedly it sunk. Maybe it didn't. They're saying it's in port. They're saying it's in the Arabian Gulf, the Persian Gulf, the Gulf of America. It's in a Gulf or it's at port, but they can't. All I came up with out of what Donald Trump is doing now is he's saying, even though Iran is saying the Houthis aren't doing our bidding, the Houthis are saying, no, these are our decisions. Look, the Houthis they're not making decisions like that. I'll break it down for you. Yemen's been around a long, long time, a lot longer than the United States. And we've even proven yesterday that we can put people from our country in space and bring them back in like 200 plus years. And in Yemen, they've been around for thousands. They're still shitting in their own water supply. They're not making their own decisions to fight us. But Donald Trump said if the Houthis, we're just going to assume it was Iran, which is going to get, it's going to get a number of things. I do not want any more war, man. I hate war. I do not want an invasion, even though a lot of Republicans do, because they love the military-industrial complex, baby. There's some on the left that do too. Well, they're busy in Ukraine. They're so busy counting money in Ukraine, they've forgotten about the other wars they can make a lot of money off of, all the tanks they can build and whatnot. But, just speaking of contracts, but anyway, Iran's going to get punched. And hopefully, there's enough time because you get 4 years now of this administration. We get 2 years with the House, and hopefully the Republicans maintain that. But you got to get it done now, or else it's, if the Democrats take control of the House, it's impeach. You got Al Green's running on. You got Al Green Jr. all running around hoping that Guam doesn't capsize before he impeaches someone. He and his ponytail shaking his cane at Daddy Trump. But Trump's going to hold Iran responsible. And look at, we just crushed the Houthis with some bombs. And then Israel hitting Hamas again, which you need to wipe out Hamas. Sorry, you can't do that. You can't. This group that is with Hamas, and obviously the students from Colombia are all up in arms in free Palestine or whatever to the river to the sea, even though they don't know which one or where the map. They don't even know that Palestine's not even a country. You don't tell them that. They don't know. For $80,000 a year, though, they can tell you, a chick with a dick and dunk or whatever. But yeah, that's the way it goes. But I wouldn't want to start a war there. However, Iran will get thumped. And the only advice I have, because I talk about contractors that build stuff because you lose tanks and stuff, whatever. I just recommend for the contractors building the ships for the new Iranian Navy, they should probably put glass bottoms on the new Iranian Navy just so they can see the old Iranian Navy. Don't mess with the U.S. Navy, baby. But there is a famous saying, I think, that you may have heard that we're actually seeing right now is the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And that goes back to Iran because they are the number one state sponsor of terror in the world, but they're supporting, they're helping Hamas, which are Sunni, and Iran are Shia. And I've mentioned them before, and it's very important if you're going to understand some of the rifts overseas in the Middle East, it is important to understand the difference between the Sunni and the Shia. And when I mention like stay prepared and master the basics, it's also important to know your heritage and know where you're going. That is a lot of the reasons that we screw up in places like Iraq and Afghanistan, because we simply don't understand the culture. And you need to, like when I was a young Navy SEAL and we went over there, I didn't really give a shit. I know most of my team didn't care because we're there to kill. We're there to kill and break stuff. And not kill everybody, but we're going to kill the bad guys. We're going to stick it to them, and that's how we're going to win. And then it's how you win wars. And wars are not fun. A lot of bad stuff happens there. But I have brought this up on the podcast. I've mentioned it on TV before. I do remember a brief where there was an army unit going to Iraq. And back in the day, when we went into Afghanistan in 2001, and then we invaded Iraq in 2003. But immediately after 9/11, a lot of the planning shifted to we need to invade Iraq. And that was George Bush really wanted to invade Iraq because of what happened between his dad and Saddam Hussein. It was going to happen. And just like any good politician, don't let a tragedy go to waste. So we went into Iraq. But we haven't been educating our leaders, especially our junior leaders, on a number of things. We no longer teach what winning is. There's no definition of winning. Because it's again, and the self-licking ice cream cone, that does come up a lot. It's one of those jokes, the self-licking ice cream cone, where it was said by a number of people in small circles. Now it's just getting out there, and everything's fad ways to say that. Like if I hear someone say, "Yeah, you're gaslighting," one more time, I think I might gaslight myself out the fucking window. But these famous phrases that pays and all this crap. Anyway, there was a unit. We moved a lot of our assets from Afghanistan to Iraq because that was the big war. And proof that that we don't know our history. We're just going to roll into Baghdad, take out the Hussein family, and then it'll be happy and everyone will get along. We didn't understand the Sunni-Shia split. We didn't understand guys like Abu Musab al-Zarqawi will come in from Jordan, be Al-Qaeda in Iraq. They can get their jihad going against the Shia because he was a Sunni, because that's Al-Qaeda and that's how that works. And as long as there's chaos there, they can kill Shia, they can start a civil war, they can blame the unrest on the United States. Win, win, win. That's what we're doing. But so we shifted assets. We're going in there. It didn't happen that way. Our people responsible, I hate saying leaders, our people who are responsible didn't think that would happen. Didn't think the people over there were so oppressed. What are they going to do when you give them freedom? It's just like in Afghanistan, the people there that are so dirt poor that they eat dirt. What are they going to do when you start showering them with cash? Didn't understand that. But anyway, there was a group going to Iraq, like a National Guard. I wasn't there for this one. I was told the story, so please bear with me, but it makes sense and I believe it. They're getting ready to go to Iraq, but then it shifts immediately. They're going to Afghanistan. So they were getting their in brief, and one of their bosses was on whatever in front of the crew and said, yeah, so here's our brief for whatever, and it says something about Iraq. And they said, well, sir, that says Iraq, we're going to Afghanistan. And the guy giving the brief said, Iraq, Afghanistan, what's the difference? And that should tell you everything you need to know right there. There's a huge difference between Iraq and Afghanistan. Everything from the culture to they're both, prehistoric countries. But if you're an Iraqi or if you are a Saudi or from Yemen and you roll into Afghanistan, you're a foreigner. And an occupier, even with the Mujahideen that were fighting the Soviets and the Mujahideen that stayed there to fight the Americans, and the Mujahideen who in between that turned into Al-Qaeda, we were funding them and then they brought down the towers. But it's important to understand the difference. Why is Iran helping Sunnis? Well, it's to fight the enemy, and their common enemy is obviously Israel and then us. The split that I brought up before, just to sort of touch back on, I did take notes I need to take, very complex, and I don't want to be insulting, but the Sunnis, they make up the majority worldwide. And the Sunni and the Shia split after a few of the Sunni supported the election of Abu Bakr, a close companion of the Prophet Muhammad, as the first leader, the first caliph after Muhammad's death. And the Sunnis follow the teachings of Prophet Muhammad as recorded in the Hadith, and they recognize the first four caliphs. Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali as the rightly guided caliphs. And then the Shia perspective is they believe leadership should remain within the Prophet's family. So Muhammad's lineage needs to go, that's your caliph. And the Sunnis believe in like a shura or a council that's going to elect them. Like that jackass that was the Caliphate. ISIS had the Rolex at the Blue Mosque, all that stuff. Shias consider Ali and his descendants, known as imams, to be the rightful leaders of the Muslim community. The term Shia itself means followers of Ali. And the Shia place significant emphasis on the teachings and interpretations of their imams. So we wrote down the key differences. The most fundamental differences is the disagreement over who should lead the Muslim community after Prophet Muhammad's death. And Sunnis rely on the Shura, and some stuff is similar, some stuff is not. And you'll even see videos when ISIS was taking over Iraq and Syria. You'd have truck drivers roll through and they'd ask them to, they'd pull them out of the truck and ask them to recite a prayer in a certain way. And if they didn't know it, they were just killed on the spot, which dealing with ISIS isn't a bad way to go, killed on the spot, because they will do some bad stuff to you. But the Sunni-Shia split it has significant historical and political implications leading to tensions if you haven't noticed. And so that's all over there in the Middle East. And then, we're in Ramadan, and then we're also in Lent, all the holy stuff, whatnot. Lent, obviously, if you're Catholic, you give stuff up and you observe. And then Easter is the end of Lent when after Jesus was crucified, he rose from the dead, descended into hell, descended into heaven. I'm not going to get into all that. But over in that part of the world, everyone's basically a descendant of Abraham. Sorry, I said it, to include Jewish people, Muslim people, and Christians. Oops. But somewhere along the line, man got involved and we switched it up. Which, like, even speaking of Lent right now, do Muslims believe in Jesus? Yeah, they believe in Jesus, but they just believe he was one of the greatest prophets sent by God to guide, to guide what? The children of Israel. Oh, man. Now we got Jesus, we got Allah, and Israel. They do believe also that that Jesus was born of the Virgin Mary, which is pretty cool. The Quran states that Jesus was born to, they call her Miriam, without a father. So that's just Joseph, man. He gets ripped. Saint Joseph, he gets ripped, but through the command of God, Miriam, according to the Muslims, or Mary, according to everyone else. And Jesus did perform miracles. He was healing the sick, raising the dead, all by the permission of God. Muslims believe that Jesus was given a holy book. They have a different word for the gospel. But they believe, and the Muslims could be right about this, they believe that the message has been corrupted over time. Really? They gave the Son of God a book, and he gave it to man, and man screwed it up? Weird. Unlike Christians, though, Muslims do not believe Jesus is the Son of God or part of the Trinity. They consider him a human prophet, servant of God. The second coming, which is, if you pay attention, Muslims really want it. Christians really want it. Jesus will return. Muslims believe that before the Day of Judgment and defeat the false prophet. This one was kind of interesting. And I'm going to try to say it. I do not speak Arabic. What does that say? Almasi ad Dajjal. And I think they just shortened it to Dajjal, which is a figure in Islamic beliefs who's considered to be a false messiah. So that's the Islamic version of the Antichrist, who shows up saying he is the word anyway in Arabic means deceiver. He's a false prophet, an imposter, but the Dajjal will appear before the Day of Judgment and will deceive, claiming to be divine, performing miracles, right? And you're going to recognize Dajjal, and if I'm saying that wrong, correct me, because you can recognize who he is because he's got one eye. So one eye's he's blind in his right eye, and his left eye is bulging like a grape. We've been mentioning grapes a lot in this podcast. Grape shot, now grape eyes. Grape eyes. That's what I'm gonna start calling him instead of Dajjal. But he's gonna go around and perform miracles, which is kind of weird because he'll bring rain, he'll revive the dead, and he'll cause crops to grow. And these are just he's going to show up, and then Jesus is going to show up, and according to the Islamic belief, he's going to confront the Dajjal. Jesus will in this event. That's regardless of what where you are with this with religion, Jesus fighting the Antichrist, man. I do want to see that. I want Michael the Archangel and Saint Gabriel to roll up, and start messing around. But the interesting thing so you got the Antichrist in Christianity, Dajjal or grape face, but it's believed by both Sunni and Shia. So they don't like each other, but now they're fighting against Israel, against us, and they love death, and that's their whole jam. They love death, and they tell us that they love death the way you love life, because the Muslims really believe that. When they die because of jihad, they will go straight to heaven, and now what's happening? You're seeing it too. Like Conor McGregor was at the White House. He's talking about what's happening in Ireland. You see what's happening in the UK. No-go zones in France. France asking us to give the Statue of Liberty back. Then all right, whatever. Come take it, France. Come on, dog. How many times you got to be rescued? I was joking on Twitter too. I have a French assault rifle for sale. Never been fired. It only dropped once. Come on. Stop worrying about the Statue of Liberty and worry about you're turning into the Caliphate too, because you're finding out a lot of these places, like Sadiq Khan, the mayor of London, allegedly just said he wants to build something like 40,000 new homes in Britain for Muslims only, near halal and halal stores and mosques. And that to me seems like you're kind of segregating yourself. But what are we compatible? A lot of these people are escaping places like Syria, war-torn places, but they're bringing Sharia with them. They're bringing the bad guys with them, and a lot of these liberal governments are letting them in, and they're letting them take advantage of your generosity. We even talk about the United States as a melting pot. A melting pot is suggesting everything that comes in the melting pot, it melts together and you become a society. You don't want to come in and just use what they're doing. A lot of people now taking advantage of the systems are using a lot of the West generosity in their favor. I was reading stories about dudes that come in from the Middle East, don't have jobs, get welfare, have 3 families, 3 wives, but the wives are not compatible either. So using your taxpayer dollars, this is in the UK, 3 different flats, 3 different families, all on the taxpayer's dime. And then they're preaching hate They're preaching that they hate you. They're not trying to melt in. And even guys like Muammar Gaddafi, who said, we will defeat the West without firing a shot. And they meant through, a tactic they use is having multiple wives because they do believe in having more kids. And we're teaching our people not to have more kids. How's it going to end? I don't know. I mean, I'll be long gone. But are the cells here, are the Sunni and the Shia working against us? Might be kind of bad, but we do need to have the conversations too. It's not the segregation like they're trying to do, and the no-go zones are bad. I mean, there are people out there on each side of the spectrum that want to have cultural centers near each other so that we can get to know each other. Maybe that's the answer, because it seems like the bombs and shit aren't really working, but why are the bad people in charge? They keep sending people to fight. One side keeps sending people to blow up, paying their families off, sometimes with your dollars. Just to tell, because man is telling them they can get to heaven. It's not God telling you that, but I think a lot of them are right when they said a book was handed, but to Jesus, Jesus gave a book to man, but they corrupted it. Could be. I mean, check out the Vatican. The Pope's in there screaming about how horrible it is to have walls, but he's behind walls. He's not letting them in there. Look at the people with the migrants coming up. Where were they at? Martha's Vineyard, Sanctuary City, until they show up. Now we're just going to help them on their journey. They're out of there in 48 hours. I mean, education, I would hope, dialogue. But even look at the politics right now. One side won't even talk to the other. Why do I keep bringing up Tim Walz? He's out there bragging about how he put Tesla. He put a stock app on his phone so he could watch Tesla stock drop, and he was bragging about it, up there looking like a fucking Muppet, bragging to a crowd, probably of paid people, saying look at how Tesla's failing, and they're all cheering. Like, you're cheering for failure? That's your answer to success? Cheering for failure? Who does that? Who makes a living bashing other? Well, some guys do. If you didn't do anything yourself, you might as well bash someone else. But Tampon 10's out there saying how great it is that someone's failing. I don't think that's a way to win. I think that if you take the high road and tell the truth, you're going to succeed eventually. I think if you cut taxes and raise tariffs and make trade even, you're going to succeed eventually. But I think it's fair to ask, what's man's involvement in this? And are they good men? And I'm saying man on purpose, because if you look at the history of war and the history of the world, a lot of people were sent to war by men, men who love power. And it's even looking at stuff that we do as a country too. I loved growing up and in the United States, and then growing up as a man in the Navy and believing that everything the United States does is 100% right, man. Red, white, and blue apple pie. But there are people behind the scenes, like the Cheney family. Do you think they have your best interest? I mean, it's almost one of those things too, where you're watching TV. What a dick, what an asshole. Do you think they care about you? No, both sides. And I'm just bringing that up because I talked about the Iraq War, where Halliburton did a hell of a good job. I mean, think about this too. Since the JFK files are out, I look tired. I did not read. I think it was 63,000 pages. It's a lot of scanning to do. I think there should be 80,000+ pages of stuff. You're not going to read through them all. The only thing that we've learned so far, as far as right now of this recording, is that Lee Harvey Oswald didn't have any burns consistent with firing a rifle, and they think he was working in cahoots with Jack Ruby, who did murder Lee Harvey Oswald. And he did meet with the Russians, the Soviets, at the embassy in Mexico, and I think in Russia. And all I know is they took him to a range, and they were describing what a horrible rifle shot he was. So, yeah, I just bringing that up because that's the JFK files. There's going to be more to come out too. The Epstein files. That's going to be a weird one because of all, like, he met with people a lot, and there were calls and lunches and stuff like that. Do they redact those names? Maybe, maybe not. But nowadays too, especially with TV shows like The View and the cackling women in the audience who don't know shortcake from Shinola. If you see anyone's name on a list with a call or a picture near Epstein, they're just, unless of course it's one of their guys and they don't give a shit. But all that stuff's sort of coming out. Not a lot to report right now too. But I just wanted to just briefly get into some of the bad policies that like little shit that the left screws up. Paper bags in New York. Their paper bags are in grocery stores to save the planet. Bad ideas. I don't understand. And then a lot of the migration stuff too, because they're spinning to people like the audience of The View about these poor migrants and trying to avoid war, which of course too, but that's not our problem either in any one of these countries. And then Then they labeled people that are standing up for their kids against school boards as domestic terrorists. People like the head of the Department of Education, the school board, the teachers unions, Randy Weingarten, who doesn't have kids, never cared about educating kids, always cared about what? Oh, her personal power. See, I had to bring up a woman because I was bad-mouthing men. There are bad women out there too. I mean, even, you know what I wonder too, the women that do have to go around, because a lot of these hardline extremists, Muslims, they don't care for women either. And it makes you, because you do see brides of ISIS and you see them get rolled up and tortured too. You got to wonder, do they love the religion as much or they just fear their men? Because they will put their hands on their women too, which amazes me. Well, it doesn't amaze me that the feminists wouldn't stand up for women because they really don't. They're more interested in standing up for boys who beat up girls in the boxing ring. But these bad ideas for bringing, like, there was a group in the UK that was, I think, banned, might still be banned, because they opposed jihad terror and Sharia oppression in the UK. I got the names: Martin Seller, Brittany Pettibone, Lauren Southern, and Lutz Bachman. They were banned because they something about a free speech thing that you can't say that. And it's, we're losing them. But there's a dude, the Palestinian named Abu Wali, who called openly for the death of all Jews. And they rolled him up, I think, Sunday night after he crossed from France in an inflatable dinghy. So you got this dude doing the reverse Normandy thing, death to all Jews, and they rolled him out. And then he should be deported back to wherever Palestinians are. But that would require Britain to be sort of sane, so they just kept him. And because this is a quote from the Daily Mail, the Home Office's guidelines effectively prevent people being sent back to war-ravaged Gaza, raising concerns that this dude, so they're going to let him stay in Britain, by the way. So this is a jihadi. They're going to keep him there because they don't want to send him back to the jihad, which is kind of weird too. You think he would want to go, but he's going to do better in the UK by recruiting more people because, again, corrupt their minds. You get your little soldiers. The news of his arrest was welcomed by a lot of people there, especially some Jewish groups. And what did he say in the video? He's uploaded videos of himself with automatic weapons, and he's saying all kinds of bad stuff. He wants to he wants to kill everybody, basically. There's this weak immigration stuff, weak judges, and it's almost like they're what kind of power are they getting out of this? And of course the UK comes out and says they're totally concerned about the nation's security. I don't think that necessarily they are, but I got another one written down here. There was this is another guy from Saudi Arabia. There's a Saudi sheikh. I don't even give a shit about his name. That was back in the UK, and he's saying this out loud. They're telling you what they're going to do. You should listen to him. But this guy says a devotion to jihad for the sake of Allah and the desire to shed blood, to smash skulls, and to sever limbs for the sake of Allah and in defense of his religion is undoubtedly an honor for the believer. Allah said that if a man fights the infidels will be unable to prepare to fight. So fight them before they're ready. And he's openly saying this. You need to fight them before they're prepared. And they're not now, too, because a lot of people believe in the nonsense, especially the politicians. Here's another one, too. This guy's from Bangladesh. He's in Britain. I don't care about his name either because you're not going to remember. He wants to here's one for you for the feminists. He wants to announce women as dangerous objects who are created only to give peace and satisfaction to their husband. He also cares. There was a dude that was criticizing him because this dude from Bangladesh loves child marriage, and he said the guy that doesn't love child marriage is an animal. He is Satan. That's his words. Interesting. Preaching of jihad, violence against everyone, and the UK Home Office, they don't care. Here's another one, too. Another guy, doesn't matter. Don't care about his name, don't care about his country. You know his ideology. He says this, too. And I want the people who criticize me for some stuff that I've said. This guy says openly, if there's homosexual men, the punishment is one of 5 things. 1, the easiest one maybe, chop their head off. That's the easiest. That's in quotes. 2nd, burn them to death. 3rd, throw them off a cliff. 4th, tear down a wall on them so they die under that. And 5th, the combination of the above. So, for anyone who's gay out there listening to me, that's how some of these jihadis think of you. you can be, the easiest way to deal with you is chop your head off. That's kind of rude. Chopping your head off. They don't always use knives too. Sometimes they use hose. Not like the fun hose. I'm talking like a hoe, like a garden hoe. Or you can get your head cut off, burnt to death, thrown off a cliff, or they will tear down a wall on you so that you die under it, or all of the above. So that's pretty rude. But that's the kind of crap that they're letting into these places too. And then they have these no-go zones where a lot of locals aren't allowed. And then what's the solution to this? I think education. I hope not a crusade. But I mean, history has a tendency to repeat itself, especially if you don't teach history. And we're not teaching history. And I don't mean just us. I mean, some of these poor kids growing up in these jihadi places are being taught bastardized history too, because I truly believe that most people just want to get along. Most people want to get on with their lives, and I hope they do. But get some bad apples in charge, and it's almost like a salesperson where if they just tell you stuff enough over and over, you're just going to believe it and follow the herd mentality. You shouldn't get into that, man. You shouldn't be part of the herd. You shouldn't be a sheep. You should be able to It's just weird the way they're turning free speech against people who believe in free speech, and then the hate speech is actually talking about cutting your head off because you're a gay man or throwing you off a cliff. That's just, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. But they're protecting them, not protecting the people that want to protect their kids. So down is up is down. So, that's just where we're at, too. I'm going to go read some more, I think, of that. We'll go through the JFK files and see what happens. Maybe get a special podcast coming. I'm a big fan of the Friday podcast too, but you got shit going on. So, we'll try to absorb that. I'm going to do my best to remember my heritage. And if you can avoid chopping off a head or throwing someone off a cliff or even pulling down a wall to fall on your friend, you're never out of the fight.